I'm sure a lot of people in Ireland have seen this story here. And like I said, um, us far right, uh, we call out all child abuse. Is that what makes us far right? Is the fact that we call out all child abuse? Probably. Anyway, this is a girl's story, a girl's testimony. Sophie Brady is her name. And these two are cousins. Now, Sophie says something very important, and I want you to take this in. Um, she says at the start of the video, trigger warning and all that, but I'm past all that trigger warning stuff, you know? Like, the girl herself, she was the one that was abused, so she can do what she likes, you know? She has had horrible things done to her. And you're going to hear it. But with the trigger warning thing, I'm past all that stuff. Like I said, the gloves are off now. It's time to reveal all injustices done to children. Yeah. Especially in Ireland. We need to gut the system here because it's absolutely riddled with these bleeding Jimmy Savile types. So let's have a listen.
Okay, here we go. This is a trigger warning for anybody that doesn't like to talk about sexual violence or can't handle it because it's triggering for them. I completely understand, but this is your warning. This whole post contains mature content. In December of 2019, I disclosed to my family what had happened to me at the hands of my older cousins. And in March, because my family didn't believe me, in March of 2020, I made a statement in my local Garda station. The contents of the statement was shocking. What came of it was essentially that my older cousins had raped and sexually assaulted vaginally and orally me and my older sister from the time that we were as young as 3. I told my family and the guards that my earliest memories were of being assaulted. My family didn't believe me. Yesterday, those 2 men, my older cousins, were convicted of rape and sexual assault in the Central Criminal Court in Dublin.
So they were convicted, right? One thing she said there about her family not believing her, I found it, like, I straight away compared it to, and she says it, this girl actually says it further on, was the Natasha O'Byrne story, which she never said that no one ever didn't believe her, did she? She didn't. And she had like the state media basically prop her up. They put her up on TV. Yeah. They paraded her around in front of all the marches. They let her, even though I think the girl's a bit, not this girl, but the Natasha one, I think she's a bit autistic if you watch her, because the way she stands, she can't stand still, she keeps twitching and, you know, she's yelling and all this stuff. But she never had a problem with no one ever not believing her. But this girl does. And I'm pretty sure I know why the family and all did that. Like, do you think the family just did it because, you know, oh, Jesus, don't say anything like that, you know, it'll bring shame on the family type of thing. Like, when I do hear that, I think, who the fuck actually thinks like that, you know? I would think that would be the only thing that would stop them, unless they actually know and they don't want it getting out. Like, they're actually a part of the abuse of children and they don't actually want everyone else knowing. It's that, or either the fact that they don't want others know because, Jesus, no, don't, like, the neighbours and all will think we're horrible and stuff like that. Like, fuck that, your child just got abused. Do you know what I mean? But listen to what she says here.
Their names are Jonathan and David Hamilton, and they live in Athboy in County Meath. Their sentences are 2.5 years for one and 6.5 years for the other. Myself and my sister are completely outraged, disappointed, discouraged, disgusted with the Irish justice system. I don't feel like justice has been served at all. and we do intend on appealing the decision. What happened to us was completely wrong, and it was cruel, and we were children. And our story is horrific. There's so much more to this than meets the eye. I know sometimes on social media things are blown up out of proportion, but let me tell you, with this case, there is so much more going on behind the scenes than anyone will ever realise. One side of my entire family completely turned their backs on me and my sister. They disowned us. They did not believe us. They do not believe us to this day, even though our cousins pled guilty. A guilty plea meant nothing. Our family never reached out. We never received an apology from anyone, nor will we ever.
Isn't that crazy? Even though they accepted that they were guilty, the family still disowned them. Do you think? I'm looking at it from the outside here and trying to figure it out. But do you think the family are annoyed with her because she spoke up about being SA'd? You know? Do you think that because they're the two cousins and were in that family, that the family are still trying to protect them even though they said they were guilty of it? Like, would you protect someone in your family that was going around SAing children? I wouldn't. Personally, I wouldn't. Because I know what damage that does to the child and to the people around them. Instead of shielding the abusers, you should call them out. But anyway, let's continue.
So much to say, and unlike Keita Hand and Natasha O'Brien and girls that horrific things happened to, RT weren't waiting on the steps of the criminal court for me yesterday. They did not want to hear, they did not want to know. The family involved here.
Do you know what? Now, she's going to say a very important part here. This is why RTE aren't covering this girl's story. This is why RTE and the state aren't putting this girl up on the RTE shows like they did with Natasha, or having her march around in front of parades talking about abuse done towards women and children. You ready?
Here. So the parents of my cousins who have been convicted, those people foster children. They get money from the government every single week to take care of other people's children. And they themselves, the two biological maternal children that they have, are convicted paedophiles.
Boom. And there it is. And there it is, folks. That's why they don't want this girl's story getting out, because the two guys who abused her, even though they're our cousins or whatever, the family that they're from get paid by the state, the Irish government and Tusla, to adopt children. That's what they don't want people going that step further with this girl's story, because that's where it's going to lead to. It's going to lead them back to, hang on, this girl's saying she was abused. The two guys who abused her pleaded guilty, so they admitted to abusing her. But the family that the two individuals are from, where are they learning, or where are they picking up this behaviour from? Because the family that they're from get paid by the state to adopt children all the time. It's a bit of a pickle, isn't it?
Make it make sense. Cousin David, who is the head perpetrator in this whole thing, has the support of both of his parents, and his girlfriend sat in court yesterday and smiled at him as he was taken away in handcuffs.
Yeah, the girlfriend's probably fucking into that stuff as well. That's why. How could you be a partner of a child abuser, and then when he admits guilt, you still go into courtroom, and you still, like, people say, well, like, they're probably married, and marriage is till death do them part or whatever. But that's all a load of bollocks. No, use your common sense. Why would you stay with someone that goes around SAing children? And then she smiles when he's getting led away. Like, I'd say she's into all that stuff. That behaviour is real. insidious.
To add insult to injury, as if it wasn't bad enough that his parents foster children from the state, his girlfriend, who still stands by him, has a childcare degree and qualification. She worked in a local creche, and her mother, who is my cousin's mother-in-law, essentially, worked as an SNA in a school. So these people have access to children, have had access to children.
And that's why they're not there. They want to hide these people as much as possible, with all that abuse going on in the background. It's like they actually want the population of children that are just completely fucked up in the head, make them feel like they have nowhere to turn to, you know, and then don't even let this girl start. Like, of all the stories that are out there about child abuse, sorry, it's not a flattering image. Hang on.
And
If all the stories I've heard recently about SA, sorry, this girl should be given, like, she should be plastered everywhere, you know. But the thing is, they won't, because then it would cause people to go, you know, it would make people question why the family are being funded by the state, by Tusla and all, to adopt even more children, wouldn't it? You know, you can't be having that. I'd say Roderick is in the background fucking shitting himself.
And this girl was going home at night to sleep beside and with a paedophile. Knowingly so. Willingly so. I'm sure you'll find some details of the case and, you know, what was heard in court and our victim impact statements and stuff like that, but no one will ever know the entire story. I don't think that I have the strength or the energy to continue this fight for much longer. I would just love for the DPP to appeal the decision. I think my cousin deserves a lot longer than 6.5 years for what he did. The point I made in court yesterday was, in 6.5 years, I might have my own children that are 3 years old. And what happens if he does the same thing to her or to anybody else's little girl? This man is completely cruel. This is the man that told his younger brother, when he was finished raping my sister, quote unquote, told my cousin to have a go next, that he was next in line. My sister and I have made fantastic lives for ourselves. We're both holding down employment in jobs that we love. We are both holding down very stable, loving relationships, thank God, with excellent men. And it's absolutely a miracle. We've been through a lot of therapy.
You see, she said another part there about our partner and our sister's partner being excellent men. You know, maybe the state and all, on top of protecting Tusla and funding these families that adopt children all the time, only to let them get abused. Maybe they don't want to see that the fact that there are actually good men out there as well. You know, so many things, man, so many things. But I'd say it's more to do with the fact that, the family are state funded and adopt children constantly.
And to this day it continues. This case has dragged up things that I thought that I was over and I had kind of moved on with. But it feels very much like back to square one, and it's a massive slap in the face that they're going to be out and walking around and able to approach me in 6 years' time. If there's any justice in this country, in this world at all, can you please share this far and wide? I want the entire country talking about this case. It might seem like I'm going on an absolute rampage today. I've reached out to every single local newspaper, radio station, anyone that's willing to listen. I am prepared to comment on the situation, so I need this shared far and wide. The only way the DPP are going to entertain an appeal is if we have public uproar and outcry. And
you see, and now I'm comparing that to, like, Sophie, this girl said herself, the Natasha and the Nikita Hand ones. Why do you think they were pushed forward so much and not this girl's story? That's the whole point I'm trying to make here. Like, It's absolutely horrible what happened to this girl, Sophie. And I think she's a brave woman because, like she said, bringing it back up and talking about it again is making her relive it. Like, imagine how that feels. Just talking about a situation makes you actually physically relive it in your mind and body. That's the trauma that these poor girls have suffer at the hands of these animals, these child abusers. But once again, like I said, it's the state. The state purposely are like how they weren't on the steps of the court system to listen to this girl's story because they don't want people looking into it. But Natasha, yeah, they can say that, the army guy, whatever his name is, it's horrible. It's horrible. Obviously, I know it is. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying one story is worse than the other. No, all sexual abuse is horrible. But the way the state pushed her, and they're ignoring this girl. Some NPCs out there might go, oh, well, the state can't cover every sexual abuse case that happens. But I'm nearly sure they're ignoring this girl and not taking photos on the court steps and covering her story because the family are state funded by Tusla.
And if my own family won't get behind me, I need to rely on the support of strangers. I don't feel brave and I don't feel strong. I feel like the system let me down, that I was a number, and that it was a file on somebody's desk and it takes the box exercise. And I really just need some support. I want everybody to go on to the other app.
So the other app, she means go on to Twitter. And I shared her story on Twitter already. So yeah, share this far and wide because this shows that the state only use stories when it suits them, or if they can get some sort of narrative out of it. Like with the Natasha one, how they made it that all army men are misogynistic and bigots, and you all remember Natasha O'Brien because they plastered her everywhere. This girl should be interviewed on national television to tell her story. They won't do it because it'll lead to people looking into Tusla and what they're really about. So fair play to you, Sophie. I hope you get real justice, and not what did they get? 2 years, and the other one got 5 years or something. That's nothing. They'll be back out doing it again to other people's children, scarring other families.